Hi everyone, I wanted to do a Saturday night recording, and today I'm going to talk real quick about Chinese web dramas. I have been addicted to them. There's been multiple spurts of all the different types of K-dramas, J-dramas, C-dramas that I have watched and that I talk about on this channel. But tonight I want to just talk a little bit about my last couple weeks that have been on the Chinese web dramas, and not just the regular drama that you would see that has and that I've talked about that has the like 36 or 24 to 36 episodes. I'm talking about the 2 to 3 hour web versions that you really only find on YouTube. You might find them on some other platforms, but YouTube is where I go to stream them and see them. So what makes them so funny and so unique is what I wanted to talk about. So, first of all, one of the things that cracks me up is the translations. I love it because they don't always get the translation right. The different places and companies that they're probably coming from, some do really great translations and have great subtitles on there, and others are just, going from Chinese to English is probably very hard with some of the meanings behind their words. And their characters are not actually words. They're, the little symbols that mean certain things in their culture and in their language. So I just love that because I had found some that are just really funny that I just laugh at. But when you watch enough of them, you know what they're saying. Okay, so this takes me to the next part that I want to talk about, which is the convenience of it, the length of it. So the length of it, as I said, is like maybe anywhere from an hour and a half to maybe 3.5 hours. A lot of the times I'm fast forwarding through some parts because it can be kind of repetitive on some of the things that they do, and they do a lot of bullying, and I don't like the bullying. I just don't like it. But the convenience of it is being able to binge watch them in those time frames, because there's times where, let's say, I'm not ready to go to bed yet. I've had a long day and I don't want to start a whole new drama, because sometimes that could suck you in, or I don't have the emotional capacity to deal with one of my K dramas or J dramas, right? So that are the higher production on Viki and Ikea. I have to learn how to say it. IKEA channels. So the point there that I'm trying to make is that I love to be able to binge watch them. So you can watch 1 or 2 of them a night, and it's very convenient to be able to find them on YouTube. And of course, the algorithms on YouTube, once you watch one, you're going to have all of these other ones pop up. So what I like about them too is that they have repeat couples. So these repeat couples are, they couple them up just like they do in a lot of dramas, but it's going from one drama to another, and similar stories. A lot of the times you could tell the difference between the stories based on their outfits, because they may have 2 or 3 outfits for those 2 hours, and that's how you know which one you're watching. So I just love them. I'm curious. First of all, if you've been watching this, please subscribe. Please, please, please subscribe and like and watch till the end. I'm not going to have a very long video here, so just give me some watch time. And I want to know what you think, because do you watch any C-dramas? Are you watching these shorter versions that are the web considered Chinese web or internet dramas? Is the other term that I found that they're called, internet dramas. So along with these repeat couples, there's some things about the storyline in general that it's just like over and over again. It's really the same storyline over and over again. So you have, they have to get married for whatever reason. They're going on a blind, they do a lot of parents who are like, you must get married. You have to get married because of whatever reasons. There's always the reason. There's the rich guy who has to get married because, it's time for him to have an heir to the throne. And then there's the poor girl who has to get married because her abusive step-parents and parents are wanting to get some dowry money for her and sell her off to somebody. So they have to get married. Then they have the grandmother who ends up drugging them. And I know that sounds really bad, but they end up having, I don't know how popular this is. If you're in China and if this is real and if this really happens in Asia somewhere, please comment. I want to know. And I don't even realize, or I don't think I'm reaching people in China yet with my videos, but when I do, I'd love to know for sure if this is a real drug that they have there, which is a kind of like an aphrodisiac. They get hot and they get all sorts of like hot and bothered, and they don't really realize what they're doing, and the only gratification and satisfaction of and way to get this drug out of your system is they end up having sex. So grandma's using this drug on these couples, so because they want them to get pregnant, because that's their whole thing, is that they want them to get married. If they're married, they want them to get pregnant so that they can have a child or two and have a grandchild. So then another part of the story when you're going through it is that they're always being bullied, whether they're being bullied by certain family members, or always some old school, high school or old college associates that they had. And then out of these schoolmates, that he comes and he rescues her, and it's all fine, and then there's fighting and this and that and the other, and then that's over with, and thank goodness, because I don't like the bullying, and I usually try to fast forward through some of the bullying because it just gives me a stomach ache. But I know it's part of their themes and part of how they go through their stories. But then there's more bullying, because she ends up getting a job probably at his company. And then she's an intern, but then she's an intern who is undercover because she doesn't necessarily want to be known as the CEO's or the owner of the company's wife. But then she gets bullied, of course, by the people in the company and the other girls who are trying to seduce the CEO, because everybody wants to marry the CEO because, of course, he's cute and handsome and they want that lifestyle. So, it's... I'm loving it. You watch one, you get through it, and then you go and you watch another one, and it's the same damn story. But I love them. Some of them are entertaining, and some of them are really well done, and some of them are not so well done. Don't get me wrong. Some of them have different twists to the story, which make it even better. So, there's hundreds of them out there, and I have watched my fair share. So then there's still a little bit more to each one of these stories that's ended up a little bit, that it ends up then also with them being bullied then at school, then bullied at work. Then there's always the exes that come into effect. So it's an ex that was studying abroad, and they're coming back into town, and they've decided that they wanted to get married, and but didn't I always love you? Didn't you always love me? But they expect them to be hanging around for 5 to 10 years, and when they come back into town, be ready to marry them, and they've moved on. So there's these exes, or even an ex that they have, like first loves that they had in high school. And then last but not least, the last two things are, there's always a hospitalization, like somebody gets sick, somebody maybe gets a fever, or somebody was poisoned because, in one of those bullying sessions. And then lastly, ending up with a pregnancy. There's always a pregnancy in there, and it either ends with a pregnancy, and sometimes it starts off with a pregnancy, because they may have hooked up at like a bar or a karaoke, or somehow they were drugged or were too drunk and they ended up in bed together, and then she ends up finding out she's pregnant. And so you start off with those stories. A lot of them start off that way, or end with, they're happy because they finally found their love together in that hour or two, and their story ends up with them being having a wedding ceremony and pregnancy. Now, don't forget that at the very beginning of each of these episodes, they're at the, I don't want to say DMV, that's for us here in the States, but they're at their, at their agency where they get register for their certificates to get married. They actually go and they get a certificate. So they don't a lot of the times have their big weddings until like after the fact, but they will go and have a specific date that they go get the paperwork, fill out the paperwork, and then they're officially married. And they have their little red their little red book that gives them that authority to say that they are a married couple. I could probably talk more about this, but I won't because it's probably been a good hot minute. But I'm curious to see and hear what your thoughts are on this because I have been getting such a kick out of it. I had started them about, I don't know, maybe a year or two ago. I don't know when. And then I go through my spurts of different types. And I just wanted to share how I'm loving the spurt that I'm going through now. So see you guys later. Subscribe, like, stay kind to each other. Bye.